Introducing Beef Up Carnivore Bodybuilding Bible. The ultimate guide for men and women to lose fat and build muscle. And the best part, it's only $12. Don't miss out on the most detailed resource available. Get your copy now at compositionconsultant.com.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My head is awfully big in this camera shot. It's not deliberate, but recording from my delightful bed. My lovely black, red and grey bedding. If you have any questions, guys, please leave them in the chat. I won't be any longer here for than... That doesn't make any sense. I'll be here for about 45 minutes. If anyone does any questions, please leave them in the chat. I always want to talk a bit today about medication on the carnivore diet. Apologies, I'm trying to hold my camera steady. It's really difficult when you can't move much. So yeah, medication. Me as an individual, I've been prescribed lots of things over the years, and it's tricky because you just take what you're told to take. That's all you know to do. There's no other option, sort of thing. Because to go through the healthcare system in the UK, it's not just a case of, oh, I need this help, this intervention, this treatment. It's that you have to be very specific in how you go about it. So, for example, you might have a friend who has some kind of pain disorder or sleep disorder, anxiety or something like that. It won't be a case of you going to the doctor immediately and getting some med. Although in a lot of cases it does seem to be that way. You have to go through something called the NICE guidelines. Now, imagine American viewers that might be watching this have something very similar. This means National Institute of Clinical Excellence, something like that. What it means is they have a set parameters and set guidelines, almost like a flow chart of what happens when a patient comes to you with certain issues regarding their health. So, for example, persistent knee pain, but there's never been an injury. Maybe it's inflammatory. Maybe it's just overuse. Maybe it's the job. In a lot of cases, they just say, "All right, what do you want to do? You've got some physio, you've got pain relief, so painkillers, or you might be able to do some glucosamine or something." But usually they'll say it in that kind of order. So usually it'll be painkillers will be the immediate thing. Does it help or not? It'll be something kind of over the counter. Oh, here's a month's supply of ibuprofen or paracetamol. But it doesn't really mean much, because what you'll actually find out is all these drugs have long-term side effects, which I've experienced in a plethora of ways. So yeah, when it comes to the medication over here, you basically have to be very diligent and do the research for your own self. Be your own advocate, because people don't know what you're going through or your individual experiences. So your symptoms may present as someone with osteoarthritis. And it might be that your diet's just crap and you shouldn't be eating Mars bars all day, every day. So you've got to work it out from that point as well. So it's about the minimum effective dose with the least abrasive action to get the most benefit towards your well-being. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll change your diet overnight, then in a week you'll feel better. And some people get that experience on a carnivore diet, but not many. Definitely not many at all. So you're looking at a long-term intervention. So whatever intervention you put into place has to be achievable, measured, well-managed, structured, specific as well. So, for example, you might say, I've got knee pain. I need to improve my diet. Over the next month, I'm going to transition to keto or carnivore diet. Then you might say, well, I also know that being, 300 pounds isn't helpful for knee pain. So maybe you want to lose 20 pounds, 10 pounds this month. That's going to be helpful. Then you sort of say, okay, what else am I doing? Or is there any sort of small little hack you can do? So once you've tackled the diet side of things, you've maybe lost weight, improved health markers around that subject, you can start to really zoom in and tackle that sort of problem that you have. So for me, what I've done is basically follow the guidelines, and it's not been much help. That's the honest truth. It's been largely a disgrace. I'd actually say most of the help I've been given has been deleterious. So I'm told all sorts of things like try yoga, deleterious. People with an unstable spine should not be doing balancing exercises. It's stupid. There's no need for me to do balancing exercise. So, the other sort of examples are try a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet. That's not going to help a lot of people, is it? for obvious reasons. If we're dealing with someone with knee pain, they can experience oxalate buildup within the knees. That's going to damage the cells of the body. Reduce repair, probably reduce antioxidant capacity of the body. So your ability to fight off infections, disease, and how capable it is in navigating your own health is going to be more and more challenging. So you need the least abrasive diet, the least abrasive activity, intervention, therapy, physical therapy. Then you can start to look at meds and things as well. So what we can find with medication, the carnivore diet, is there's specific things which are useful. So, for example, we know most medications are going to infect your liver values, kidney values, digestive function. So how can you support that alongside what you're doing? Now we know things like taurine are helpful. We know things like, I don't know, zinc carnosine is very helpful. That's an individual trace. Well, I guess it's not trace mineral, but an individual mineral collated with an amino acid, which is carnosine. What we find is that it actually builds up the mucosal layers or binding ability of the gut. So effectively, you're taking a drug, and it can help mitigate some of the damages from it. Obviously, it's not better. It's a better scenario to not take the drug at all. But you may actually find some of these things which you use to combat the side effects of the drugs are more effective at reducing symptoms from the disease state itself. So, for example, you might say, "Oh, my detox is bad, so I'm taking an acetylcysteine." Well, okay, great. What if you just took that from the start but didn't take the pain meds? Now, it's not medical advice. I'm not saying to anyone here that watching this is like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing you things. I'm not saying this is the absolute rule. It's not something you have to absolutely adhere to. But you can experiment and ask your healthcare provider what you need to do to minimize damage and risk. So, with any healthcare profession out there, when it comes to diagnosing your medication, this is an absolute fact because I've looked this up, at least in my country, is they should be able to tell you the parameters of what side effects each drug at the dose that they're prescribing to you will yield. And they should be able to say the common occurrence of it. So the commonality of, I don't know, digestive distress from, say, I don't know, oromorph, so oral liquid morphine, which is an opiate which has a binding ability in the gut, which basically makes you constipated. And they should be able to tell you, oh, 1 out of X amount of people will experience a side effect. So therefore, if you know yourself about the drugs, you do your education beforehand, do your own research, you'll be able to find out, okay, this side effect will happen. Then you're not waiting 2 to 3 weeks in the doctor's office to find out, oh, I'm constipated, what should I do? But you're still taking the drug for 2 to 3 weeks later. That's not going to be helpful. You're not going to get further towards your health goals by doing that. So definitely do your own reading around things. But sometimes you can get into a panic and sort of get into an experience of paralysis by analysis. So this means, for example, you might say, okay, I've had enough of, healthcare, this, that. I don't want to take any meds. I'm strict carnivore. I do, I don't know, beef, lamb, salt and water. And you might think, okay, that should give me all the benefit. The reality is, maybe it doesn't. For most, it doesn't. Because if it did, we'd have a lot of people out there experiencing such tremendous benefit that they wouldn't comprise more than 95% of the carnivorous population out there, which is eating mixed animal foods diet, which does happen to actually include dairy. So what you see online, guys, I've said this in lots of videos before, but what you see online is regarding different dietary approaches, challenges, things like that. It's not long-term fix. It's about having, again, realistic, time-managed, achievable, sustainable goals. So you might say, okay, I felt 10% better going from line diet to, I don't know, mixed animal food diet, so eggs, dairy, fish. Okay, that benefit is there, but is it worth the 10%? Most people say, well, yeah, but most people won't act on that. Most people's health state is not bad enough, or they do not consider or perceive it to be bad enough to make that impact on their health journey regarding what dietary intervention they will follow. People will happily make themselves damaged and harm themselves with their diet knowingly and not choose to act on it. And that's up to them. For me, I mean, would a line diet be helpful? No, probably not. I tried it, yeah. Was it helpful? No. Would it be helpful now, years down the line? No. Because I like different foods. I like eggs, I like cheese, dairy, all sorts of things like that. I like lots of fish. So that's going to give me more benefit long term if I can adhere to it better. So you might have someone that comes across to you with a diet which maybe has, I don't know, let's say 2 foods in it. You get tremendous benefit. Then someone's birthday or wedding comes up. What do you do then? You have 100% pure beef and salt burgers at the wedding? Probably not. Probably not, guys. So you've got to find something you can do long term. Now, people say, oh, yeah, but you just don't eat that meal or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, but when everyone else is eating and you're not, it's quite isolating. For me, it's not isolating. I don't care. I'll sit at a restaurant and just have black coffee if I have to. Does not cause me any distress or concern at all. But then I would say to other people, perhaps some people almost, I'd say some people almost relish the idea that I'm strict. I'm stricter than you. It's like, let's not chase strictness or adherence or that. Let's chase an actual measurable goal. Let's not chase a proxy mark of success, saying that the stricter you are, therefore the better you are at a carnivore. The best carnivore out there, in my opinion, whoever this might be, I cannot say because I don't know. I don't know everyone that's following this diet, obviously, but the best carnivore out there is a person who's taken their health from point blank zero bottom, where they're, I don't know, paralyzed in bed, they can't breathe, they can't move, they can't digest anything. Then they're out playing football, soccer with their kids and family. That's the best carnivore because they've achieved the most. It's all relative. So it's one of my favorite biblical stories. I'm not a man of God or anything, so don't take it that way. So don't be putting my comments below. Oh, praise be with you. God's healing you. Jesus loves you. No, it's not that. It's more of the symbolism of the story itself. And the story is the rich man of Lazarus. So basically, if you can do your own research and read up yourself, but I'll say basically it's not so much about what you can take or give to the world if you've already got a lot. It's about what you can do relatively. So, for example, we've got Dr. Chafee started his YouTube channel. When I started following him, he had maybe 40, 50,000. I think now he's up to like 500,000, which is insane, but so good. You think, well, he started off there. So his scope of people that he can help be much greater than mine. I'm not denying that, obviously, because I've got like 10, 12,000 or something YouTube subscribers. But you don't know how many of those subscribers can impact. So what people might not realize is, as a coach, everyone I coach right now currently has had some kind of major injury or something which you consider to be a major tear, a major surgery, something which is quite considerable in terms of the impact of day-to-day life. So it's all about relatability. So proportionally, you might have, I don't know, 1% of people follow the carnivore diet could be carnivores. Maybe that 1% is in high proportion in my channel. Hence why I don't get many comments to a lot of my videos, because autistic people don't tend to like to engage with people online or in person, which is fair enough. But you can see when you look at my stats, the watch time is very good. The click-through rate is good. It's just my audience is small because my scope is small. So it's very different. I mean, if I came out and said, as a member of Anorexia Vegana, promoting plant-based diet and bodybuilding, there's going to be like a million people out there on YouTube looking for plant-based dieters that do bodybuilding. But you would look at me and look at the others and think, oh yeah, he's pretty good. And you think, yeah, that's not helping people. So there's a lot of people out there that will produce content for viewers, but not for their benefit. Maybe they know that, maybe they don't. I can't say. Now I want to talk a bit more about medication. So different medications can have different effects on you. And my experience right now is with the pain side of things. So as an autistic individual, I experience things to a much greater degree than most people. Sensory overload is enormous. Living is very tricky when you can communicate so well and appear so well when clearly you very obviously are not at all. And that can sometimes mean that you're using medication to fit in more, pain meds, things like that, so you can still access family stuff and do things you want to do. without being pushed aside or ignored, kind of thing. So one thing I did when I got diagnosed with CRPS, which is complex regional pain syndrome, back in November, was I looked up the prognosis of that. What happens to people long term? What can I do in that meantime to reduce or mitigate further damage? So I'll be in a state where I'm not like the people that are 6 months down, like 2 years down the line. Little did I know, to my own, I wouldn't say to my demise, but I did a bit more reading, and it seems to be very much internalized. So it's a perception-based disease. So you're not going to pick it up by doing a bone scan of my hips or something, or taking curcumin or reduce inflammation. My inflammation's bloody zero most of the time I get it tested. CRP, things like that. My blood marker's the best I've ever been in my adult life, but it hasn't improved my symptomology. Then some people, if you have osteoarthritis and you're going from, say, let's say a pain score of osteoarthritis for like 30 out of 50 on the McGill pain score. So you're from like 30, you might take curcumin or black pepper extract and all this stuff, and omega-3, glucosamine, chondroitin. Maybe I'll drop to about 25 after a month. For me, that number will not drop. It will not drop until maybe change my perception. People think, oh, you can just change your perception by just take mind off it. No, the pain is so great, and your mind does not go off it. This tricky mask is an individual out there with autism saying, oh, how you doing? I'm in a living fucking hell. My pain is fucking enormous and it's a disgrace. No human should have to go through it. And I've been telling the people this for years and I haven't been listened to, and I have not been heard. And it's caused a lot of destruction in my life, and I've been very forthcoming about my symptoms, so it's not news to people. But the help I need is not being accessed. So, like always, as always have, I've been helping myself. So in this time, I've been applying to things, basically speaking to government association things and different websites, research, trying to find a consultant out there you can do online consults with that does not charge £250 to £300 per hour plus. We're talking about $350, $400, guys, to speak to someone just to get your symptoms out in the air. For them just to say, oh, we'll need another appointment because it won't be long enough. I appreciate people charge for their time and that's how much it costs, but it's like, what are you meant to do in trying to help yourself out there? And they're subtle people with your condition, and you're sort of telling people, oh, I don't know what to do. So in my case, I sort of look at testimonials online. So I recently reached out to Dave Mack, who runs the website, the YouTube channel No Carb Life, and he's interviewed, I believe, over 1,000 people. He was very kind, actually. So I asked him for help because I thought, if anyone sort of had conversations, it's probably going to be him. He's spoken to lots of people as well. I've seen his thumbnails like pain gone and this sort of thing, and it's just for clickability, I guess. But he actually went through all the transcript of all his videos to try and find someone with my disease. There's not someone out there, and I'd say it's quite rare. There's a study done in, I believe it was Sweden or Finland, I can't remember, somewhere like in that area of the globe. And basically sort of said, well, we're looking at 26 out, I think it's something like 23.6 out of 100,000 people. And I think you're never going to hear from these people because they've got so many conditions wrong with them, probably medicated off their mind. They can't leave the house. They're probably older anyway. They're also probably female, so I'm less likely to come across them online. Like for like, if you're a male, you're going to come across more male stuff usually. So these people are completely out of access. So it's frustrating because I'm like Googling and YouTubing, and with a lot of these people, you see these people make these remission stories and, oh, I've done this. It's like, yeah, but every single time these people are like £300 when they start, and they cut down to healthier body weight, maybe half that even in some cases. Is it the factual £300 that you've had this pain? I've been all sorts of weights. I'm currently 104 kilos, something like that. I've been 125 kilos. I've been 90.7 kilos from the last year. my weight is not reflective of the pain I'm in. Whether I'm high weight, low weight, medium weight, does not matter. It does not make any difference. I know the pain is within me as an individual and not something I can, diet off, The problem I'm getting now is medication's getting very expensive. It's something like, I couldn't even say, but I'm probably spending £4 or £5 a day. It's like $7 or $8 a day or something on meds every single day. And that's baseline just to get me through a day where I'm just lying here, sat here, making like the AI sort of YouTube videos and things for people, just to get people to say, "Oh, I don't like the music in it." And it's like, I don't like your attitude, you entitled fuck. Um, People sound bitter for thinking that. It's like, no, just rude. If someone come up to you on the street and they said, "I don't like this. It's too loud and it's really annoying," or "I don't like the captions. They're distracting and I hate it." It's like, you fucking child. You absolute child. You just don't watch it. You just think, "Oh, I'm struggling to watch this video. It's not the sort of content I'm after." You think, move on. I'm not saying anything dangerous in these videos. It's helpful. It's scientifically valid. I do have references for, I'd say, most of my videos, especially the recent ones. So I don't know. But the other side of it is like, the other side of pain meds is you've got different pain meds. You have hallucinogenics, you have opiates, you have NSAIDs, you have tricyclic antidepressants, you have things which just manage different areas and symptoms of the disease state. The problem is, like I said, they all have side effects. Your individual response is based on you. It might be that you don't tolerate opiates very well, like myself, codeine, morphine. They just don't work. They don't do anything. It's like, I take it, I just feel sick. They bind you up. They're not health promoting, at least for me. Well-being promoting, definitely not. But the problem is, if I have to go anywhere or do anything for a long period of time, I don't know how long I'll be out. I don't know if someone that I'm with will be like, "Oh, we're going to spend the next 2 hours doing this." Like, I don't have any medication with me. I'm going to be flat on the floor crying. That's the sort of life I live. I can't live a normal life anymore. Everywhere I go, it has to be timed, managed. It's getting to the point now I'm having to take medication with me everywhere I go because I don't know what's going on. I don't have the stability that I need in my life. I don't have a regular routine. I have my routine that I follow myself. But it's getting hard to follow because it's mixing around with other people's stuff and errands and things they got to do. So that's one of my probably greatest setbacks at the moment. Most deleterious challenges, I'd say. However, on a positive note, I have found some things helpful. So this is where like things like supplements come in. So I've been using an array of things over the years, on and off, but I found that the most effective for pain being from omega-3 oils. There is one that I use, but I can't remember if I've got a video for it. I can't remember. And other things like magnesium threonate, which is exactly how it sounds. If you can't spell it, type it into Google, use ChatGPT, use common sense. There's also probably a transcript for this video below. So yeah, you can find it through there. But yeah, things like magnesium helpful for just relaxing nerves and helping with loads of chemical reactions throughout the body, reducing excitability, cleansing the glutamate receptors, something like that. Anyway, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on that specific thing, but it's been quite helpful. So that's been my probably number 2 hack, outside of obviously carnivore diet, sunlight, things like that. Other things have been hit and miss. So I might have had an experience of something, used it, got benefit for a few months, and no benefit at all. But that could just be chasing the dragon in the case of my disease, where it's not getting better. So whilst my state is becoming more like a vegetable, basically, I might be finding a benefit biologically from whatever I'm using or taking or doing, but it's not helping me to the point in which it's exceeding the rate of my regression. So pain's going up, but pain relief side of things is not going up. So it's kind of one of my limitations. But if anyone has any questions in the chat so far, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to be going for another 20 minutes roughly. So I'll be happy to answer any questions through there. Other than that, there's different medications as well. So with my disease, it has not changed in terms of treatment plans in, as far as I can tell, 10 to 15 years. Just looking at what they do now versus back then, what guidelines they had that then versus now. So it doesn't affect many people, so there's not going to be much research on it, which is kind of obvious. It's not like you can really self-advocate, because some spanner decided to call it complex regional pain syndrome, which means when you type it in, you just get a load of articles about pain. It's like, no, I've got a specific diagnosis. It's like saying, oh, you have neurodivergence. Neurodivergent what? ADHD? Autism? Which one is it? So that's quite a problem. Can you see me? No, because you weren't here at the time. There you are. Hello, you alright?
I don't know what happened. I logged
You're
on
muted,
and then
I think. I can hear you now.
I realized about 10 minutes later that I forgot to turn my camera on. And then I turned it on and I was like waiting for you to let me in, but I think that maybe, so sorry, I was on and then I realized my camera was off, but I've been here since 9:30 actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
anyway,
know if
we'll go for a bit longer. We'll go for a bit longer. Did you want to talk about pain at all? So for anyone wondering, you can follow, I can't really do my finger, but follow Juliet there on that name. That's her channel. You still, I don't know why you keep typing that in, because I've said twice to put your channel name in there. You keep putting your full name in there.
Oh, I thought you meant like the YouTube handle. I'm still learning. Obviously, I logged on at 9:30 with my camera off like a genius. So.
Yeah, so when you put at, it means at who you are, your handle. Doesn't mean your name. So for example, mine would be Jonathan at Carnivore Mass or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. I'm just making all kinds of mistakes today. It's Juliet's autistic experience. Yes.
Yeah, what's your experience with different medications? And so I've kind of spoken a lot about pain and the carnivore diet, my experience, because I'm just rambling off the top of my head. Some will still criticize and say, you made a 25-minute live stream about pain about yourself on your own channel, which talks about your own experiences. God forbid. I'm like,
yeah, but we can only really speak with authority about ourselves or people can't we? As you know, a lot of my experience with medication is in relation to my sons, especially Xander. Well, with William, it's that he has a mild seizure disorder and he has absent seizures. So let's just he might kind of freeze for a minute. But the medication must be working because he hasn't had one in like 4 years. But Xander, it's more to deal with his aggression. I won't go into the deal, but you know what's going on. He can get very aggressive. And he's taking I don't know if I'm saying it, risperidone, and they've increased it a couple times over the last few months. And it seems to calm and regulate him. And that's good. I mean, I know some people are very put them on all the medications, and some people are like, oh no, medications are bad. You know what? There's nuance, there's individuality. And if someone needs it and if it gives them relief, and if it helps them live their lives, then what's the problem?
yeah, I mean, the argument, I'm going to throw some things at you, not because I disagree with what you're saying, but more they're things that other people would say, like kind of counter arguments.
Yeah.
So one might be something like, well, if your son has autism, they experience sensory overload, couldn't you just improve their diet or their sunlight exposure to the point that it makes them not experience that?
Yeah, and you know what? I would tell them, I have done that. Like, do you think I have not thought of that? And I will say that because he's carnivore and I do all these things, my kids rarely get sick, like rarely at all. And if they do, they're better in a couple days. But the sensory stuff, the aggression stuff, the fact that he's nonverbal and has trouble coping, unfortunately, diet hasn't done it for him. And I respect that it does do it for some people, and that's great for them, but I've got to do what I've got to do for my kid.
Yeah, I understand. You have to be your own advocate. Like I got quite a bit of kickback a few years ago for using pain meds, and it's almost as if like, oh, we'll just stop taking them and do these exercises or lose weight, or it's like you can do all that, but sometimes it's not enough. At the end of the
Right.
day, your son, me, you, we're living in these bodies. We're not going to do something unless we have to, if we know it's bad. Like,
Right.
I know the deleterious effects of these drugs, but I don't have any option to not take them. I went cold turkey in December for I think about 3 days, and that was deleterious. I would not want to go back there again. Like if someone said to me, "You have a choice between never eating beef again or experiencing those 3 days again," I'd take the never eat beef again because it was so severe. So when people like yourself, Juliet, like parents, carers, and people that are looking after more vulnerable people, you do have to advocate for them and almost be the brain behind them to sort of think this person perhaps doesn't have the cognitive strength or wiring yet to sort of understand what something's doing to their body, but you want the best for them. So how's your experience been with using those sort of medications then with Zonda?
It's been I've gradually had to increase them, but they have helped. They've kind of helped to make him more mellow and like not like a zombie. I know people are worried, like, oh, I won't be myself. No, he's still very much himself, but they've mellowed him out so that like the slightest upset in routine or slightest unexpected thing won't set him, pouncing. And so yeah, it's and usually like they've been increased twice, like because he's like pretty much the same size as me, which for a young man is not very big. So they started him on a small dose, and then gradually they've realized, oh well, he still needs a little more. And each time they'd increase it, he'd kind of be sleepy for a day, and then he'd kind of come back to his normal self.
Yeah. Yes. It's hard to know these drugs because when we put a drug in, we think, okay, side effects maybe, then you get the benefit, like the leveling out kind of effect. But sometimes it's a bit jagged, like you don't really see, like a bit. That's the nature of autism and sensory overload and just symptoms we sort of present. They're so wavering. I'd say it's quite a dynamic disability in some cases for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Would you tend to agree with that, or if you had a different experience?
No, I would, especially with Xander. And then you have to take other things into account too, like medication plus, is how's that affecting them, plus how is their digestion affecting things? Because I mean, I find that if his digestion is messed up, even with the medication, he will be in a mood. And and then there's, the whole not being able to cope with change of routine, which even, I mean, I have a problem with that too, but for someone like him and his siblings to a lesser extent, just the slightest thing different, that will throw your whole world off sometimes. And so it's not one factor or another. It's like it's diet, medication, just life, and it all plays a part. And you have to kind of, it's kind of like if you're in a recording studio, I don't know if this is a good metaphor, but like if you're a musician, you're in a recording studio, you like all the right levers to figure out, like, get the right balance,
Yeah, that's what we're all chasing. When I guess we kind of discussed this in the last chat we did maybe a month ago, but like the diet thing's huge for people like us, for sure, I think. But that should be more of like a pillar, like a cornerstone.
Yeah.
But then all the other things come with it. So I kind of made at the start of this video like a bit of a tangent about You know, adding in the intervention, seeing if it benefits you or not, taking it out. You might find some placebo effect. But the only way you're going to know that is by managing the consistent variables. You know, if you know you can adhere to a 90% carnivore diet, that's your default. That's, you know, when you're kicking yourself down and eating a load of junk food because it's not worked after 2 weeks, it's not going to help you. So you have to be, you know, you can be, everyone has their own tolerability, but you have to be mindful of, is that going to benefit me or not? And the same thing's true for exercise, for example. You know, if someone's got osteoarthritis out there, rheumatoid arthritis, exercise could be really harmful for them. But they're not going to know until they try. So maybe what they need is more exercise, but the right amount.
Right.
And the same thing's true if you've got the same thing about the levers. Like, what if his pain med's here, but he's had a lot of changes recently here. So if there's not been eating much here and his sleep's disturbed, if he's not had a good time learning or something, or he's not used his energy up that day, you know, everything goes to crap. So it's I want to say it's a very self-absorbed lifestyle people like us tend to live, but I wouldn't say it's selfish, because if you don't care for yourself, no one else will do it for you.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, we really have to be our own advocates, because the world is not designed for us.
Yeah, it's especially at the moment. I mean, they've got rid of the bus stop down the road where I live. Well, in town where I live. So it's like, if I want to get a bus to town, okay, get on the bus, sit on the bench. Okay, there's no bench on the way back from town. The buses are always late. So that's prohibitive. So that's a roadblock I shouldn't have to face. But other people would not observe that. They don't realise when I'm lying down on the bus stop because my bus doesn't turn up for an hour. And that's just what I have to do. There's not an option around it. There's no bench. There's nowhere to sit. It's pissing with rain. I can't walk that far. So it's yeah. We've actually got a question in the chat. I'm going to address it first. I believe it's addressed to me, but if you want to chime in and give your thoughts on it as well, that'd be cool.
Okay.
So it's from Michael. So thank you for joining, Mike. Appreciate the question. So why go cold turkey? Why not wean with the help of a doctor using other drugs to help wean? That's a very solid question. The problem I had was I'm using a private pain specialist, a public pain specialist, and a public GP. Me getting them three to collaborate together without having all my prescriptions stopped it's an impossible endeavor. For me to get hold of the pain clinic where I get the pain meds I currently use from is private, and they will not call, send letters or anything to my GP. The same my GP, they will not call, send letters, collaborate with the pain specialists. So there's no cohesion there. So there's no other viable drugs I can access to wean off those. Now, the other ones that I could have accessed include things which are deleterious to me. So they include opiates. So yes, I've got a pack of the hydrocodone here. I've got a few servings of morphine, liquid morphine left. I barely take them because I know they don't do anything. On a very bad day, I might take half of the hydrocodone. I use that alongside things like zinc carnosine, which help repair the gut lining, things like that. Now, getting back to your question, because it's about, you know, the cold turkey side of things. So with drugs, I'm sure you know this. I'm not going to demean you or make you sound stupid or condescend you, but with all drugs, they attach to a receptor site. So if I put in half the drug amount, the dosage, it will still attach to that receptor site. Therefore, that receptor won't have time to clear and resensitize itself to that drug. So effectively, I'd be taking for example, if I was to do half a dose, that would mean I've then got zero pain relief because half a dose doesn't cut it. So it's either I take the full dose and get some, or take half a dose and get zero, nothing. So going cold turkey is a better idea in this instance, because I can either take 3 weeks to be in a massive amount of pain, to wean off them or whatever it is, or reduce them, or I can go cold turkey every now and then to reset myself. I use a very complex array of supplements to help do that. But yeah, that's why I don't wean in terms of reduce the amount. Without deliberately doing it. I had to come off drugs, pain relief drugs. Sorry. I'd say it was maybe 3 weeks ago. For about 2 weeks, I was speaking to Juliet about this. Basically, I didn't have my money come through my account, which meant for about 2 weeks I had to just basically use nothing. So I had over-the-counter painkillers. I use like half a syringe of liquid morphine a day, but it doesn't do anything. So my options at the moment, outside of ketamine infusions, which are probably down the line at some point, are hallucinogenics and THC drugs. The rest of them don't help. They're pretty much damaging. But with all the different experiences, and like I said, this isn't medical advice. I don't want to say this and someone try it and think, oh, that doesn't. Do your own research. But that's just what I found. And I'd let you respond in a second, Juliet. Sorry, I've just been around tangent. Okay, thank you. My fiance's oxycodone does nothing for her as well. Yeah, honestly, Michael, I'll look at other things as well, even herbal. Magnesium threonate's probably your best bet in terms of least side effects, damage to your body, but the most pain relief, nerve pain relief at least. So I'd certainly look at that. It's a bit more expensive supplement, but it does seem to help. It's not going to be like you're taking cannabis or something like that. It's not going to like drop your pain from like a 10 to a 5. It might drop your pain from maybe, I couldn't say what level, but maybe like a 9 to an 8, maybe. So you'll take any 5% edge you can, pretty much, I'd say. But yeah. Do you have anything to add to that at all, Juliet? Sorry.
I don't have as much experience with medication for myself. As far as my boys' experience, I told you about that. For me, yeah, I don't. Basically, if I have a migraine, there's like a CBD THC blend I take, which helps the migraine. And for my anxiety, I take kratom. But I'm not. You're the expert with the other stuff. But that's what I do for me.
Yeah. Funny enough, we can't get kratom over here.
Oh,
I've looked into it in quite a lot of detail. It's actually really hard to get hold of.
it's so nice.
Yeah, really challenging. But to be honest, I've had a lot of bodybuilders use it in the States. I know it's not your sort of experience, and you'll be using it for a different kind of effect. But a lot of them are like, "Oh yeah, I use loads of it," and I'm like, listening to the amount they're taking, I'm like, how is that cost effective after a certain point?
Yeah.
You take so much of it, and it's like, at what point do you say, I'm sick of putting in a tablespoon of powder in my mouth every day, or something?
That's a lot. No, I take like
Yeah.
a half a teaspoon, and it'll like help with my anxiety and just kind of give me a sense of well-being. So it's like an antidepressant, but natural for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
half a teaspoon is good for me.
Yeah, there's different compounds as well, which I wouldn't say they work the same, but they can work similarly. One's something called phenylethylamine. So it's basically a xanthine, I believe. So it comes naturally in, I want to say geranium plants or something like that. I can't remember. But basically, it's a short-acting stimulant which stimulates, I believe, dopamine. I might be wrong, but it does give you some effect. So I'd say you could use it very, very sporadically, maybe like once or twice a week. But if you want that motivation, like a bit in your coffee or something, that'll definitely help you out. Or things like tyrosine as well. So tyrosine is a precursor, and I believe it's actually a building block to certain neurotransmitters, catecholamine hormones, adrenaline, things like that. There's some people need that kind of response because their cortisol response is so suppressed because of the drugs they're on. So if someone's in a stressed out state and they take drugs that de-stress them, their cortisol will be lower. If the cortisol gets too low, they get more side effects from the drugs. So depressed lung function, lowered breathing. So that's when the old polypharmacy comes in. When you're using so many drugs that suppress and calm your central nervous system down, you almost need drugs to be caffeinated. But what I found is there's not a dosage of stimulants that allow me to feel energetic when I'm using my medication. So in a very weird kind of way, like a silver lining way, it's been a bit of a benefit in a way because I don't really consume caffeine that much. So just 'cause it doesn't do anything. I had I say a small cup of coffee this morning, nothing. I don't feel it. It doesn't amp me up, or I just feel a bit anxious about it really sometimes. But
yeah, I've already had 3 cups today. I'm feeling good.
you motivated me to have another one in a bit, I think. Yeah. Did you want to wrap this up there, or did you have any last minute thoughts? Turns out lying on the bed isn't too bad. I could probably maintain this for a bit longer, but
yeah. No, I do want to
Up to you.
apologize. I was here and like an idiot. I was like, oh, wait a minute, my camera's not on. And I felt so stupid. But no, I hope you didn't think that I was just being a flake and wasting your time. No, I was an idiot and my camera was not on.
I'm using a different setup because I'm on my phone. For anyone curious, I'm using my phone. That's why I keep bobbling around. I'm not deliberately bobbling around to be annoying. I'm holding this close to my face because that's as close as I can hold to my face without having my arm out here, which is painful. I did prepare ahead of time, so I've not just come on here and just thought sod it. It's I've got like a gimmick which you can attach. You basically wrap around your head like that. But as you can see, it's so close to me, it'd be like that. So I can't really record. So I have to find a way to set up an arm, a lever, something. I don't know. I've got tripods and things, but on the bed, it's not really going to sit still because I move every few seconds. But yeah, that's probably why I couldn't see you on here. So I just see the live stream and the questions. You can't see much on a phone, but it works. So.
No, it was a good talk for the time that you could see me. And it's always good to learn. And I'm because they just upped Sanders' meds like a week ago, and so far so good. So we'll see. But I mean, we got to advocate for ourselves and for the people we love. Who I'm speaking for him because he can't speak for himself. And no shame in it. I mean, I think sometimes some people might kind of be ashamed to say, okay, well, I need this to help, because I don't know. Sometimes I think there's like this, people want to be pure or come across as like there's a shame in needing a little extra help outside of the diet. If you need help outside of the diet, no shame in that. Do what you got to do for yourself and your well-being.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people use medications. I'll say, as a coach, he's worked with people around the world. So, lots of people in different countries and very vast, varied demographics, socioeconomic status, things like that. I'll say the Americans do use the most drugs in terms of, I'm not well. I took about 6 paracetamol the other day, or acetaminophen, or you guys. This isn't a dig against you, it's just what I've observed. Like, you guys, if there's a problem, it's like, here's a med. I think we can probably see that in prescription rate.
Yeah, it's not cool. It shouldn't be used as a Band-Aid, and a lot of people here do just that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We're going to wrap this up in a second, so I've just got a message from Susie. Thank you for the info and insights, Jonathan, and thank you, Juliet, for the info. Much appreciated. She's actually streaming on both our channels, so that helps. So if anyone's still listening to Juliet's wonderful discussion and my ramble, feel free to give Juliet and myself a subscription. So my channel is Carnivore Muscle, and Juliet's is Juliet's Autistic Experience. And I believe I've linked her in the description. Yeah, I think I've linked you in the description. I may not have done, but if not, probably comment on each other's things. You can find each other in the comment section. But we'd like to probably continue this sort of chat in a couple of weeks. When we're both free, and we could go into, well, Juliet can pick the topic. We can do what you want, really. So we could release it now and say what you want to do, or we can release it later. It's up to you.
Well, yeah, I definitely have some ideas.
Yeah, nice one. All right, we'll catch up soon, everyone, and I'll send you a message in a bit, Juliet.
Okay, great. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Cheers. Take care, guys.
Check out my site at compositionconsultant.com, where your journey to peak performance and optimal health begins. With a degree in human nutrition and over 15 years of training experience, I've guided more than 400 carnivores to not just meet, but exceed their physique and performance goals. Through personalised consultations, comprehensive ebooks and dedicated coaching, I'm here to ensure your success. Join the ranks of those who have transformed their lives. It's time to align your physique goals with positive health outcomes. Visit compositionconsultant.com today and take the first step towards the best version of you.